Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes, and this is the top 30 browser games you need to play in 2021 and 2022. Now these are all games that haven't been featured before in a top 10 list, but if you guys want even more games, then make sure to smash that sub button right now, as only 12% of you guys watching this video are subscribed, so do not miss out. Now while you're down there, hit the like button if you're excited for these games, and comment below your favourite browser game right now, and I'll heart react some of my favourite comments. And before we hop in, if you want the browser that I use to play every single one of these games with high FPS and no lag, then download Brave Browser for free, link in the description below. It's by far the best way to reduce lag and earn free money and cryptocurrency while you surf the web and play browser games. So if you want to try it out for free and really help support the channel, then make sure to install Brave Browser on PC and mobile by clicking the link in the description below. Starting off this list is Squadio, an isometric game where you easily hop in and start blasting your enemies. The graphics are simple, which is perfect if you have a bad PC, and the gameplay is straightforward, so just start shooting. There are unlockable weapons, so there's a decent amount of variety, along with different maps, modes, and power-ups, and that makes this game a lot of fun. Eve.io is the latest free-to-play browser game to catch my eye, 2021's newest Halo-like first-person shooter that is easy to run and has deceivingly in-depth gameplay. Gameplay is easy to pick up with its point-and-click nature, but add in the moon jumping and of course the abilities, and Eve has a decent amount to unpack. Add in the weapon drops throughout the map, which feature rocket launchers, shotguns, and snipers, and Eve is perfect for a quick 5-minute gameplay session. Oops No Brakes is a racing game with a twist. You can never stop. Get to the flag at the end of each level, but your car doesn't have brakes, which makes things a bit difficult, but also really fun. The graphics are simple and the controls are too. All you need is a mouse, which is how you control the car. Collect coins, go fast, and get the best time. It can't get more simple than that. Brutal.io is simple and awesome. It's a 2D game where you fly around the battlefield and attempt to take out your enemies with your flail. Left click to detach it and launch it towards your enemies, kill them, and then absorb their life to get bigger and more powerful. It's the same .io concept we've seen time and time again, but this time it's got this extra element which really makes it fun. Your flail can also take out some really powerful enemies if you use it correctly, and that's really cool, especially because you can do it when you just hop in game. Deadbeat is a fantastic rhythm game on itch.io, and it says that it's a HoloLive fan game. I don't know anything about these virtual YouTubers and stuff, I sound like such a boomer, but I do like this game. It's kind of like a different version of like Guitar Hero, but instead of going and actually hitting the beats, you're trying to go and dodge them because these beats are attacks. There's a heap of different attacks that you have to dodge, jump over, and counter, and you're doing all of this over some really awesome music, and it's just a really great experience. Repulse.io is great. It's a first-person shooter with a futuristic Halo vibe and includes a ton of weapons, great gameplay, and huge maps. On top of that, there are also vehicles which are insane. Very few browser games can go and pull that off. It's really easy to get into given the characters are really bright, just in your face, super easy to go and shoot, you don't need much FPS experience, and the simple graphics means it's playable on all computers, including Chromebooks. BrowserQuest.io is a tribute to classic video games, but with a multiplayer twist. You play as a young warrior driven by the thrill of adventure, but in this game there is no princess to save, just a dangerous world filled with treasures to discover. In Browser Quest, given that it is a multiplayer game, you can work with each other to defeat enemies and get loot, which you can then use to upgrade your character. Add in the achievements, and this indie game has a lot going for it. It's got that great pixel graphics, the gameplay's fantastic, and also Mozilla, the guys behind Mozilla Firefox browser, they helped go and develop this game, so there's a lot of star power behind it. Next up is Deep.io, the classic IO game where you get points by destroying shapes and tanks, which you then use to level up your tank stats. Now this game is straight up fun, and is one of the most popular IO games for a reason. Now I've also played its spiritual successor in Arrest.io, and while it has a lot more tanks and content to play with, the gameplay isn't as good. So with that said, let's include both of them in this list, since you should go and check out both and see which one you like more. By far, one of the weirdest games on this list is lolbeans.io, which is pretty much a browser ripoff of Fall Guys, but in a good way. Run through the course, be the first ones to qualify, avoid the traps, it's Fall Guys through and through. While graphically it doesn't really compare to the actual Fall Guys, it does actually get the theme down quite well and it is really fun. Shapes.io is an open source base building game inspired by Factario. Your goal is to produce shapes by cutting, rotating, merging, and painting parts of shapes, and it's automation at its finest. Shapes has a ton of depth and it's really quite complex, but it's also fairly easy to get into at the start. It's also available on Steam and has so many positive reviews, and this is definitely one of the best games on this list. Next up is 41 Days, a pandemic simulation game where a new virus is spreading. You need to draw quarantine lines to contain the infection, with the challenge being to keep the number of infected under 50% for 3 minutes. It's super minimalistic, with the only element being drawing lines, but it's addicting attempting to keep the infection at bay. Add in that the lines can break when they get overwhelmed and things get chaotic very quickly. When you have 2 lines break on opposite sides of that screen, then you have to go and try to contain both sides. Everything just goes crazy and you're just trying to go and survive to the end. Nuclear Blaze is awesome. It's a unique 2D firefighting game where you fight your way through a mysterious facility and try to keep the blaze under control. It includes some pretty cool events with exploding walls, but the main goal is to take down the fire bit by bit as you go deeper and deeper into the facility. The gameplay is great, the graphics are even better, check it out. Aqua is a game on itch.io, and this is probably one of the most minimalistic games on this list. Now the concept is really quite simple. You're this blob and there's these squares, and when you go and shoot out of one of these squares, it turns into a flower. Turn all of these squares into flowers, shoot yourself out, and then you go and win that round. You win that level and you go on to the next one. It sounds completely bonkers, but when you hop in and play, you'll get what I mean. It's a really simple idea, great execution, great style, great visuals, and the music is fantastic as well, and it'll definitely get stuck in your head. Deepest Sword is quite a quirky game about a knight with his sword. Initially, your quest seems simple. Get to the end and kill the dragon. However, you'll realize that your sword is just not long enough, and promptly you'll be right back to the start. Next time though, the level is longer, your sword is longer, but the game is more difficult. Rinse and repeat as you try to go and get to the end of the game. It's such a cool concept and it works really well as you replay the same levels, but they go and play in a completely different way because your sword is longer. It's just something that you have to go and hop in and try to go and really see what it's all about. Top Outpost is a really cool game. You're the only survivor and therefore the only one able to defend yourself from the oncoming zombie horde. Your goal is to last as long as possible, and to do this you must kill as many zombies as possible and upgrade your weapons to be more effective. Visually, it's actually quite cool. Enemies are detailed and bullet hits go and have some impact. Now you only need the mouse to play this game as well, and the game is actually quite difficult. You need to be smart and upgrade your weapons when you fail, go and time your shots, and this game actually does get a little bit addicting when you just fail so many times. You get your upgrades and then you finally complete that level. It's pretty fun. Smashcarts.io is probably one of the most unique .io games out there right now, and probably one of the most unique on this list. It's a Mario Kart-like game with a free-for-all concept. Drive around the track/battlefield and pick up power-ups, most of which are weapons, and you'd use them to take out your enemies. It's super satisfying to use missiles, machine guns, mines and so on, and it's always fun outplaying your opponents. Add on the drifting mechanics so you can just drift around Tokyo Drift style, the fun graphics, and the easy to hop on nature, and Smash Karts is definitely one of the best .io games out right now. VRG is probably one of the coolest browser games you can play right now. It's a super fast-paced, chaotic, combo-building, dual weapon wielding first-person shooter that is just a joy to play. The goal of this game is to get through the levels, but the way you do that is up to you. Buy or pick up a ton of weapons, slide around the map at insane speed, and build up your combo meter. When you hit Triple S, the game goes into slow-mo, perfect to take out the really powerful enemies that are trying to kill you. Overall, this game is just a lot of fun, really stylistic, a great single-player FPS game, which is a little bit different compared to all the multiplayer ones I'm going to talk about. Powerline.io is similar to another game we've mentioned today, Brutal.io. Both of these games look the same and both have rectangular arenas, but Powerline is basically Snake. Force your enemies to go into your tail to take them out, grab their energy and grow bigger and bigger to the point where you dominate the lobby. To make things interesting though, if you get close to your enemy you get a speed boost, and that's perfect for some sneaky tactics. Powerline is super simple, very addicting, and it's also playable on mobile. Go and check it out. Osu Web is pretty much what it says on the tin. It's the world famous rhythm game called Osu, but now in the browser. Now for those who haven't played Osu, you use your mouse to track beats on the screen that are in sync to music, with a lot of the songs being anime related. Now this version of Osu is definitely more stripped back. Graphically it doesn't have many of the effects and the lack of hit sounds is also disappointing, but the actual gameplay does go and replicate normal Osu fairly well. Once in a while, generally for big events, Google makes these games called Doodles, which are browser games. Now for the Tokyo Olympic Games, they made Doodle Champion Island games in collaboration with Japanese animation studio Studio 4 Degrees. The result is amazing. It's a Pokemon, anime and Olympics fusion in the best way possible. Gameplay, it's like Pokemon, but with heaps of cool mini games, skateboarding, rugby, there is so much to go and do. Now visually this game is absolutely insane. When you're just walking around, it looks like Pokemon, it looks fantastic, but the true beauty is when you go to a game and you see this cutscene, or when you go and finish a game and you win, it's an even better cutscene. The animation quality from Studio 4 Degrees is fantastic. I'm not the biggest Google fanboy out there, but man, they really hit it home on Doodle Champion Island games. Please go and check this one out. Zombs Royale is a classic IO game and it's one of the most popular in the world for a reason, given it's a 100 player 2D battle royale game inspired by PUBG and Fortnite. WASD to move, break boxes to get guns, shoot the enemies, and it all can be done in solos, duos, or squads. Despite the simple graphical style, there is a lot of polish. The UI is feature packed and the gameplay is super easy to get in and understand. Add in the cosmetics, battle pass, limited time modes, and even a mobile app, and Zombs Royale is the #1 browser battle royale game for a reason. Sort the Core is a very different type of game. You play as either a king or a queen, and your goal is to either say yes or no. People come at you with demands and questions, and all you gotta do is say yes or no. But your overall goal is to increase the population, increase the happiness of your town, and also go and increase your wealth. Despite being such a simple concept, it is such a joy to go and play because you feel like your choices actually go and matter as you see your town get better and better and better. The music is fantastic, the visuals are great too, not too much animation behind it, it's just some kind of wobbly characters, but in the end they put all their effort into making this game look and sound amazing, and that's fantastic. And of course the gameplay, very unique, very fun too. Voxim IO is a super fun browser first person shooter as it does something different. Voxim is all about big teams and big battlefields, but in the style and gameplay of Minecraft. When you hop in game, you'll get an AK-47 to start with, but you also get a shovel and blocks. With this, you can create and destroy cover, just like in Minecraft, and it opens up so many opportunities. You can go on the offensive, use your shovel to go and tunnel through the enemy's base, and then go and get a massive flank. Or you can sit back, go and make your own cover, and try to go and snipe them out with your assault rifle or sniper rifle. There's a lot of different ways to play this game, and even though the gameplay isn't the best, the overall experience is really interesting and definitely worth a shot. Hole.io is a game that anyone can play. Use your mouse to move the black hole around the map and just start eating things. Start with small bikes and trash cans, but quickly move on to cars and even whole buildings, and then attempt to take out your enemies who are doing the exact same thing. It's really just quite satisfying seeing you go from absolutely nothing to this huge hole and just swallowing up absolutely everything, and the joy of winning the whole match is pretty cool too. I think a key element to why IO games get popular is accessibility, and Hole.io has it. Anybody can go and hop in and play it, and it's just super easy to have some fun. You start from nothing, you go into this massive black hole, and it's just a really cool game that I recommend anybody from any age group playing because you'll go and get a kick out of it. Now the next game for today is BroIo, and this is a really unique 2D pixel style top-down battle royale game, and it's one of the quickest ones out there too. Now this game gets you quickly into the match, so you pick up a gun and start shooting. The map is fairly large and there are guns littered everywhere, ranging from basic pistols to Dragunov snipers to machine guns and more. It's the classic arena starts closing in, last man standing type deal, and that's no way original, but that's absolutely fine because this game more than makes up for it with its super unique pixel art style, which is amazing to look at. Simple idea, fantastic execution, check it out. Polyblicky is a first-person shooter made by Roka, the same developer who made War Attack and Rush Team. This game goes in a very different direction than those two games though, graphically looking like Roblox's Bad Business with its blocky characters. Snappy movement combined with fast and frantic combat works wonders, and the ability to swap weapons in-game via a spawn menu means matches don't get boring. If you're bored of the AK, swap to the sniper, swap to the SMG, swap to the Deagle, so on and so on. It's easy to grasp, there's lots of modes, lots of maps, and it's a lot of fun. Check it out. Hexblade is such a sick game, let me go and talk about it. Basically, this is a side-scrolling game, it's got its DNA, its roots really back in the 90s era where these games were really popular, but now this was made in 2021 and it's got that 2021 polish. Visuals are absolutely insane, the amount of effort put into this is absolutely crazy. Not only the backgrounds, but the characters and also these really huge bosses that you go and fight up against, it is crazy. Now the movement and the gameplay is surprisingly simple. You just go and move, you crouch, you attack, you jump and all that. It is very simple and it is very reminiscent of these older games. But the bosses you fight against, they are surprisingly difficult. This is a polished game, but it is a difficult one and it is actually quite difficult to go and get through. So if you like a challenge, this game is for you, but really anybody that enjoys this style of game has to go and check this one out. Now obviously Cronkite.io needs a mention. It's one of my favorite .io games right now, probably my favorite IO game right now, but I've mentioned it way too many times in these lists before, so we're going to give it the honorable mention spot. Now if you've never seen it, it's a fast-paced, slide-hopping, class-based first-person shooter, and it's probably the best browser-based first-person shooter out there. I highly suggest to go and check it out, and if you haven't gone and signed up for an account, make sure to go and use my referral link in the description below. It's one of the best ways to go and support the channel. And while you're down there, go and download Brave Browser as well, because that is another really great way to support the channel. Coming in at the #1 spot, of course, is Friday Night Funkin'. It seems simple. Use your arrow keys to match the incoming beats to the music, but the true joy is the amazing visuals and the insanely catchy music that will make you play again and again. It's one of the most popular games right now for a reason, and the continuous content means there's always something to come back to, and that's the reason why this game got the #1 spot.